My dear mother-in-law, I can't believe it. Maybe writing it will make it real. Jesus is alive. Really, honestly, truly. He was dead and he is now alive. Roman soldiers don't make mistakes at crucifixions. It isn't as though Jesus was only half dead when he was taken down from the cross. They made sure of that. The last few days have been a nightmare. We were afraid for our lives and spent most of the time hiding in that upper room where we had shared that last meal with Jesus, talking together, wondering what was next, although the others did most of the talking. I just sat there, remembering. Early this morning, as soon as the Sabbath was over, Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James and Salome went down to the tomb. As Jesus had been buried hurriedly before the Sabbath, they wanted the chance to anoint his body properly. As they told us later, they went out without thinking about who was going to roll the stone away. Not that it mattered, because when they got there, the stone had already been rolled back. They went in full of fear, worrying about what had happened, and they found Jesus' body was gone. Their first thought was that the religious leaders or the Romans had stolen it. Not that they had much time for thought, for in the tomb was a young man dressed in white, an angel. He told them that Jesus had risen, as he said he would, and they were to tell us. They said he had said that they were to tell his disciples and Peter. Me by name, oh mother-in-law, despite all I did. Instead of being rejected as unworthy, Jesus wanted me personally to know he'd been raised. Imagine that. It gave me a warm feeling inside, and then it hit me, and I cried again, but tears of joy rather than the bitter tears I have been weeping. Anyway, not that I believe what the women said at first. When they first came back, it took time before they said anything at all. The terror and amazement of it had struck them dumb, but we could see in their eyes that something had happened, and with such momentous news, they could not keep quiet for long. My initial thought was, poor deluded women. People don't come back from the dead. And as for being the first witnesses of the resurrection, surely no one would choose women. After all, they've no standing in a court of law. Their testimony is worthless. Maybe that is why Jesus chose them. If I was going to make up a story of Jesus being raised, then I would never have chosen women as the first witnesses. But Jesus has been raised. He is alive and he's promised to meet with us too, back in Galilee. I think that was what he was trying to tell us. The things he said about 3 days later and coming back to life. I'm gradually trying to understand. But now I'm worried. What will the religious leaders and Pilate say when they find out that Jesus has come back to life? I think it may be safer to come back home before they find out. Looking forward to telling you all the news. Jesus is alive! Love, Peter.